I'm saying she's touched so many folks, and now we are without her. And being everywhere means her pictures are taken everywhere.
Charlie Howard, she's a model, she's a writer, and she kind of started this, what you see here is not normal. And she put that up in all caps.
When is it ever okay to publicly discuss a woman's appearance? I don't know the answer to that, but here we go. Hey there, folks. Thank you for being here. TJ, that's Robes. What do we, Robes, is it? I thought the answer was supposed to be, it's never okay to discuss or certainly criticize a woman's appearance in public. Is that just a blanket rule?
I think that's the standard rule. I think the exception is when you think perhaps there is a life at stake, if you think someone's health is at issue. Look, I can even go back to, I remember being personally offended when a makeup artist told me that I looked pale and sickly. And I remember being immediately upset about it.
Okay.
Come to find out that I was anemic. And I went back to that makeup artist because it got me thinking. I went to my doctor and I said, you know what? Thank you for saying something. Now, she didn't put it online and she didn't tweet about it and make a public comment about it, but even someone who I had a relationship with who said something to me, my initial response was offense. But it turns out she actually was worried about me.
Okay, she was worried about you, had a concern there. That's one thing, that's understandable and that's personal. We're talking about Ariana Grande now, who I am getting caught up on just how much she has been enduring for the past several years. She's just 33. She's been half of her life in the public at this point. Not just public, she's been famous for half of her life. She has now come out, Robes, and said she's going to take a step back from the public life she has. And she specifically, Robes, said it was because of public scrutiny. We all have to know what she's talking about, even though she didn't say it was related to her appearance.
Correct. I feel for this girl.
Man,
we know her brother. I've had the pleasure of actually interviewing her at a very difficult time. She had some controversies a few years back, and she sat down, she publicly addressed them, and I found her to be a kind, sweet, wildly talented young woman. And we love her brother, Frankie Grande. And look, I think this is somebody who is beloved. And I think that might be the distinction. Now, people might think they're helping, but they could be piling on and hurting. And I think there is a fine line. And I do think that when you are wondering whether or not you should say something, whether or not you should bring something up, you should always err on
the side of
not bringing it up.
Okay, but then we talk about someone in public. Robes, this is so difficult and delicate to do because to a certain degree, I didn't even want to hop on and talk about this because it certainly ain't. If anybody should be saying anything, you would argue a man, which should be the last one commenting on a famous woman's appearance. But Robes, she's been dogged by this for years, and you could just put it out. It's so difficult to talk about this, but folks are coming out and have for years, some with concern, some with criticism, some with harsh critique, that she looks thin.
Too thin.
Too thin.
And
dangerously thin.
Dangerously thin, I think, would be what some people would say. But I would also, let's take the flip side and say someone is morbidly obese. That is a medical term. Is it okay to call that person out because you're worried about their health?
No.
Because you're worried that they may have a heart attack or die from diabetes or some weight-related illness that, by the way, takes more lives than most? So if the answer is no on that, then the answer, I think, needs to be no on the other. Now, the concern is what folks will cite is because Ariana Grande is so thin that it could be normalizing that type of weight and creating eating disorders or issues for young women who are her fans, who are looking up to her as the vision or pinnacle of health, and I want to look like Ariana. That is what people are saying, in part, why they're speaking out and speaking up. Not just for Ariana Grande's health, but for the millions of young women who she influences each and every day with her art.
And speaking up for those young women, babe, millions, what harm are we doing to this young lady?
Exactly.
Who is, and she is one of the most, I say little.
Because she's a tiny little thing.
Amazing what comes out of her.
It's crazy that her voice
Don't know how that
is what it is, given the frame it's coming out of.
She is wildly talented. I mean, a delight. Everybody from our 13-year Sabine, 13, to you, who would be a fan, to me, we are three different audiences, and we are all fans. Sabine used to watch it when she was the show she had when on the kids show.
Oh yeah, I can't remember the name, but my kids watched it too. Yes.
Right now, I'm saying she's touched so many folks, and now we are without her, and going to be without her for a little stretch, because it seems like, Robes, we, the public, have pushed her and forced her to say, I don't want to do this with y'all right now.
There were some big names over the weekend. I say bigger names. They're not huge necessarily household names, but you know of them. They're verified on their social media accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers. They have come out publicly, former stars or stars who say they were also they had former weight issues, they were anorexic, or they had an eating disorder. And so they've decided to use their name and their past experiences to speak out. And that, I think, might have created part of her decision ultimately. It's just that when she released this new music video, things took a higher, there was an uptick in the criticism. Now, she's been, as you pointed out, dealing with this criticism for years now. But over the weekend, it reached a fever pitch upon the release of her new music video.
Pedal?
Pedal is the name of her music video.
And it comes with a warning at the beginning, actually. But the warning has to do with graphic violence that could be triggering, because it does. She ends up, if you haven't seen the video, she ends up very bloody. There's a whole chainsaw, whole thing going on. So that was the warning. But that's not the part that people are picking up on. Robes, there's a section in there. I had only seen still frames of it, which do come off a lot differently because people are just plucking out and picking exact parts where they think she looks the thinnest.
She's in a certain angle, or there are certain shadows on her chest that make it look like her bones are sticking out.
Maybe it's just me. I don't know if you would have said, I don't know if I would have fallen into the category of concern for her when I first just see it in real time. I don't know if I would have. I've been around her. She's a tiny little thing.
She is.
And I always just assume she's skinny, but other people are seeing this as something else, and they saw this as something else, and I'm paying attention and I'm listening, Robes, but it's so difficult. When does concern comes off as criticism? You can't express concern for her appearance without coming off as you're in some way critiquing it.
Absolutely.
How do you do that, baby?
I don't know. Is the answer. I don't know. And you mentioned you were even hesitant to talk about this publicly. But I would say the only reason why we are is because she has. Because she took the stand. She made the announcement that she is stepping back. In fact, let's read her official statement just so we can kind of be on the record with it. This is according to her rep, Ariana Grande's rep, stating she looks forward, meaning Ariana Grande, she looks forward to finishing the tour and ending it on a high note, both healthily and happily, and then taking a much-deserved break from public-facing work and appearances, which has led to endless, ongoing public scrutiny. And they're talking about her current Eternal Sunshine tour. It began in June and it ends September 1st in London. She was set to then start rehearsals for a pretty big, incredible opportunity that she had to co-star along with
Jonathan Bailey.
Yes, along with her Wicked co-star.
Current sexiest man alive, too, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And she was going to be performing. This is an incredible opportunity on the West End, a new stage production of Sunday in the Park with George, a Stephen Sondheim, just juggernaut of a show. It was going to take place in London. This was a big deal. Anytime an actor and a singer is given the opportunity to have a performance either on Broadway or at the West End, it adds, not that she needs any credibility or any sort of accolade. She's already a Grammy Award winner and Academy Award nominated actress. But look, if that moved over to Broadway and she could add a Tony to all of this, look, this is something that actors seek out. And this is an amazing opportunity. And she has announced that she is giving that up. That is huge.
That says a lot.
And speaks volumes.
You know, even without all the scrutiny we're talking about, if she says she wanted to take a break, I would understand. She has been everywhere nonstop. And we've been seeing Wicked, Wicked, Wicked.
Yes.
But there's been music, music, music. She
Yes.
hasn't stopped being on top of both of those worlds, Hollywood and music, for the past several years. And Rose, yeah, she could get a break. But Rose, her being so high profile and being everywhere means her pictures are taken everywhere, and she gets scrutinized every single time she shows up. Rose, they decided, she and her reps put that in there. They didn't have to.
No.
They could say she just needs a rest. And maybe that would have led to speculation, but they specifically said she has to step out because of scrutiny.
Yes.
She, one of the most famous, most talented, most successful people we have seen in entertainment the past several years, Robes, said, I don't want to keep working because you all are making me feel like crap about how I look.
That is true. And look, to that point, you would normally think a production, a big production like what's being put together at the West End, that they would be upset. Breach of contract, that the major star is pulling out. Their statement speaks volume to their level of compassion for what she's going through. They said, we know this cannot have been an easy decision, and she makes it with complete understanding and support. We wish her nothing but the best. I think that says a lot about who she is, how well she's respected and regarded among the people who she works around and with and for. And they offered her nothing but support in pulling out of this major opportunity.
Oh, you know that's a big disappointment.
That is a huge
Ariana
disappointment.
Grande and her co-star are about to reunite on the West End
Exactly.
for a Sondheim play. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal.
That's huge. And so, look, we talked about this scrutiny, this growing public scrutiny that, again, reached a fever pitch this weekend when her latest video music was released, Pedal. And look, I think this is the question that you were posing, and many people are asking this now. Where is the line? Because, yes, making those comments, and we'll get into some of the two big high-profile comments that were made that spawned a lot more comments. Where is the balance between putting something out there that absolutely could further damage Ariana Grande's mental health and any progress she's making towards healing and feeling whole and feeling healthy, versus normalizing what some folks say is a dangerous weight to be putting out there in music videos, on red carpets, that normalizes this uber thin body image for young women? Like, is it fair to even put those two things? Is it her responsibility in any way, shape, or form to have her weight have any impact on anyone else? I mean, I think that's another argument. Also, I know plenty of people who are so naturally thin, it's just who they are. Yeah. I don't know what's going on in Ariana Grande's life. People are comparing what she looked like in 2021 to what she looks like now in 2026. They have, I think, one of the pictures I've seen is the one of her on The Voice versus her music video. There does seem to be some pretty significant weight loss.
Sure, but I don't know what's going on with this young lady. I don't know what a healthy weight is for her. Now, people get to look like, TJ, you obviously, like some people look at it, and people who have gone through issues and with eating disorder. People that look at her and say, I recognize that, and I am concerned about her. Not people criticizing, but concerned. That's one thing. But Robes, she talked about that 2021 picture. What year was that? The TikTok was in 2023.
Correct.
So she says in a statement, you all are comparing how I look now to how I looked then. And what you're seeing then is as unhealthy as I have ever been in my life. She said that right there is me unhealthy. What you're seeing now, a healthy me. She talked about taking certain pills and drinking, and she was open about it and said, now here I am healthy, and you all, damned if I do, damned if I don't. That was her statement at the time.
And that's tough.
She claimed she was as healthy as she had ever been. And again, that was 2 years ago. I mean, she was has there been a dramatic drop off since 2023?
I think the big thing was just seeing that video. And look, that is what caused, you mentioned Charlie Howard. She's a model, she's a writer, and she kind of started this over the weekend, posting the pictures, the still images from Ariana's video, and says, I think it is vital that we discuss imagery, videos, content like this, pointing to Ariana's video, and the damage they can and will have on women and girls. What you see here is not normal. And she put that up in all caps. And then she said, over the past few weeks, I obviously see the comments about worried fans, but I also see other people convincing others that she looks healthy or that she simply has lost puppy fat. She said, what I see is someone in desperate need of hospitalization and care. And while I know it's impossible to help someone at this stage of anorexia, there has to be immediate intervention. And she goes on to say, her big beef is with the people who are around Ariana Grande. Yeah. She said the teams involved should be ashamed. What's disappointing is that it takes teams often in the hundreds to approve videos like these and get them over the line. Each and every one of you, including her family and her management, are enabling this person and encouraging her illness when she needs help.
That's tough, baby.
How does she know what's going on in Ariana's life? That's the problem.
Oh man, that's tough, baby.
It was tough.
She's flat out saying anorexia. She called it anorexia.
Flat out did. And said that she also suffered from it. Yeah. She knows it when she sees it. And she said that's why she feels the need to speak out, because she said she almost died.
We're speaking out when we don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
Robes, that's it. She's making, and I understand. I think a lot of it is concern. I'm concerned about her mental health at this point.
Robes, because of all the scrutiny.
And again, eating disorders, I think they tell you it is mental, is it not?
Yes.
Eating disorders, right? So, yes. I know what is she supposed to do, Robes? Is she supposed to get to a weight that everybody else thinks is okay? Is she supposed to come out and explain everything that's going on behind the scenes in her life? Is she supposed to explain herself? Is she put in that position to do so? I understand what folks are saying about the danger, Robes. I guess I'm to kids, right? Is that what she said? Danger to
yes,
people?
To other young women, impressionable young women. Yes,
but we're dumping on Ariana Grande, and also in that statement you read, her entire family almost.
Absolutely.
And saying you all are harming everybody. I guess sometimes the focus doesn't seem so much on Ariana Grande. It's what she's doing wrong. It's what people around her are doing wrong. But what about Robes? Should the message say anything more than concerned, hope you're okay, and move on? What else are we supposed to say to combat? We're not combating something she said. We are actually out there in public combating what she looks like and telling another segment of the population, Ariana Grande is not doing right. This is wrong. Do not follow her example. That's different from just concern. This is such a tough, I have nothing to say about her appearance. Critical or otherwise, I hope she's okay. Clearly, she looks thin. Robes, I've been around a lot of actresses that were thinner than I have ever seen a healthy woman look. Sure, but I don't know her situation. I don't know her background. I don't know her health. I don't know what her doctor's telling her. I don't know. So it just seems so uncomfortable to have a meaningful conversation. How can you have a meaningful one?
And that is the rub. That is the question. That is what people want to know. And look, you'd think that people would, and she did get this woman, Charlie Howard, she did get pushback. If you look at the comments, some people say, this isn't okay, what you've just said. Some people say, thank you, finally someone said it. Like, everyone's got different opinions, but Jamila Jamil, I wasn't familiar with her. Now she's on The Good Place, so if anyone watches that show, that's kind of her big acting accolade. But she's a British actress and comedian. She too jumped on this video and said she deleted it, but then came back and reposted and doubled down. But initially she said, this poor woman is possibly dying right in front of us. That was a bold statement. She said, so she goes off, but then she said she was upset that then people started saying, oh, you've got woman against woman, people are fighting each other. She's like, no. She said, I feel extremely bad for Ariana, having almost died of anorexia myself. Everyone is killing her by normalizing this. Silence is complicity when it gets this far. Look at Karen Carpenter. Woo! So Karen Carpenter, famous singer, died of anorexia. So she starts pointing that out. And look, that's where this is going. And I'm just imagining Ariana Grande is seeing this. She's aware of this. and she wants nothing to do with this. And so, yes, we get this announcement that she is pulling back from public life, period. And I feel for her.
I hate that. Robes, the back and forth, right? Who was the last one? A comedian? Did she say she had?
She did. Both of these women who came out and made these pretty big statements, bold statements, saying that Ariana Grande is dying before our eyes. Both of them said that. Both of them say that they nearly died and only recovered because people had really uncomfortable conversations with them. People had to actually sit them down. You don't see it. When you're in the middle of it, you don't realize it. And you have to have tough love, and you have to have people around you who are willing to give you tough love. And so that was their point. But Jamila Jamil is her name.
Do we not think that Ariana Grande has people around her that love her?
So it's funny you say that, because she she said that very thing. So she specifically said in her TikTok video, this is in 2023, she said, "You never know what someone is going through. Mm-hmm. Even if you were coming from a loving place and a caring place, that person is probably working on it or has a support system that they are working on it with. So be gentle with each other and with yourselves." What a kind response. But that was 3 years ago, babe. She's been dealing with this for years.
That one was the one that it almost sounded to me like, Robes, almost an admission that something was going on behind the scenes. That line jumped out at me when I was listening to her. She said, "You never know. Behind the scenes, might have some people working on it." Right? I thought immediately, okay, she is working on
this. She's acknowledging that she's working through something.
Working through something. That's enough and should be good enough. Robes, that same video is the one. There was a point in there where she was like switching subjects. She said, first point this, second point this. And then she stopped in the middle of everything and says, "Oh, by the way, that I'm not wearing any eyelashes. This is my real face. These are my eyes. Just don't start tripping and freak out about this too, okay? Oh my God." Like, she stopped.
Here's what I look like without makeup on.
She was a minute and a half into the video and thought, "Oh God, they're going to think something's wrong with my eyes. I better say." Just to see her in real time, she reacted, Robes, and got scared in a moment that, oh God, they're going to say something else. And she's been going through it.
So telling. And celebrities are human beings who have feelings, and their feelings get hurt, and they worry about what people are going to think of them and say about them and what they look like. They have all the same worries and issues that every single one of us does when we're walking down the street, when we post a video, when we take a picture. They're the same as us. And you pointed out this interview she did with Cynthia Erivo while she was doing the Wicked promotion. And again, she's always asked about this because it's been known that she has been dealing with these comments for a long time. And she said it's hard to protect yourself from that noise. It's something that's uncomfortable no matter what scale you experience it on. Even if you're at Thanksgiving dinner and someone says, someone's granny says, "You look skinny, what happened?" In today's society, there is a comfortability that we shouldn't have at all, commenting on others' looks, appearances, what they think is going on behind the scenes, or your health, or how they present themselves from what you're wearing to your body, to your face. There's a comfortability people have commenting on that. I think it's dangerous for all parties involved. Here she goes again. "I'm really lucky to have the support system I have and to know and trust that I'm beautiful. I do know what the pressure of that noise feels like. It's been a resident in my life since I was 17. Think about that. And I just don't invite it anymore. It's not welcome." That was 2 years ago in 2024. So she references, look, just every single person who is listening, imagine or remember how it feels when someone tells you something about your appearance that isn't positive. Regardless of their intention, you look tired. How does that feel? Is someone trying to be helpful, telling you should get some more sleep? Wow, whatever it is, it's never received well. It's never, like, again, I pointed out my thing because it just popped in my head. I remember how offended I was. Yeah. And it was coming from a good place, from a place of good intention. And maybe it was something I did need to hear, but it still hurts. Now multiply that times a million when you're in the public eye and you're just getting nonstop scrutiny.
There are people who see her every single day. There are people who see her not wearing much. They see her, right? She's got hair and makeup. She's got wardrobe. She's got parents around. She's got friends. People see her every day. Well, are we really to believe no one in that circle has raised a single concern? Is that possible?
You have to trust that the people who know her and love her best are going to be the people who guide her if she needs guidance.
That is my thing. Am I not, are we not, supposed to trust her and her surroundings? I don't. Because there is concern, Robes. Because there is concern. It feels a little different, but we are heaping our concern onto her not understanding what's really going on. We're basing it on appearance.
It's insulting.
It is. And we talk about body positivity now, but it always goes on the other scale when someone's overweight.
Exactly. It does not apply to people who are thin.
No. We celebrate someone's overweight, on the obese, BMI off the charts.
Talk about being medically dangerous and unhealthy.
We can't say anything about that, right? Because it would be offensive.
Right.
Would it not? Here. Why skinny? Why is it thin? That's the thing, baby. When's anybody yelling, hooting, and hollering at Lizzo when she first came out? She was naked, dancing around.
And that could have a lot of impact on a lot of young women.
Again, not a criticism of Lizzo.
No.
Do your thing. But I'm saying
exactly.
The conversation was so different. And she is the one that's saying, what do we say all the time, Robes? That healthy bodies can look different.
Yes.
Just because somebody has a little weight, that's healthy for them. And this, is this healthy for her? I don't know. I don't. I'm just so uncomfortable, bro. If that video hadn't came out, she'd still be doing that show in the West End, wouldn't she?
I think so. And it's really, really sad. Look, the tour she's on, Eternal Sunshine, this album that she's still promoting, in her song Yes and, her lyrics are telling. There's a line that says, "My face is sitting. I don't need no disguise. Don't comment on my body. Do not reply. Your business is yours and mine is mine." She's telling everybody right there, I don't need your comments. And I don't, look at this point, and she said it multiple times, trying to understand and recognize that it may be coming from a place of concern, but it still isn't your concern. It's her concern.
Okay, there it is. So that's key, baby. All right, to that point, it is not your concern, it's her concern. But the public out there seems to think or take, Robes, the position that we're doing this because of concern of your fans.
I think people need to really examine themselves and ask themselves what the motivation is. And if you really do genuinely feel that concerned about her health and concerned about the impact she's having on young women, just ask yourself if you'd be willing to do and say the same things and comment the same things if it was about someone being morbidly obese.
Yeah, why don't we? Why can't we? Seriously.
I just want people to examine the reason why. I don't know the answer, but for the people who have commented, I would like a genuine answer about why it's okay to comment if they're worried about someone's health because they're too thin, and it's not okay to comment about someone's health because they're too overweight.
But as we sit here, we should be able to come up with that answer. Why is it? Because people overweight are usually made fun of. It's taboo.
You're defending someone who, yes, is oftentimes bullied and criticized. Okay. And the thin girls might be the cheerleaders and the popular girls and the people you didn't like in high school. And so maybe it feels okay to bring them down a notch. I don't know if that's part of the psyche.
Does it play a role as well? Because people often say you can't do anything about being overweight. Like people struggle, and you can't hold it against them. It's not that we hear that. It's possible, that play into it.
But people also have high metabolisms, just as much as people might have slow metabolism. Some people might have really high metabolisms. So for the same exact reasons, it could be said that they can't control how much they weigh on either end of the scale, literally. And look, here's the deal: she's going away. But I feel like it's so sad at this time in her life when she should be on top of the world and celebrating with, yes, more music being released, finishing up a world tour, having the 2 Wicked movies and getting nominated for an Academy Award, winning 3 Grammys, having had the opportunity to be performing on the West End, and she's got a movie coming out. We just saw the trailer for it.
She actually looks hilarious in it.
Focker-in-law. And she is like the feisty new soon-to-be daughter-in-law. It hits theaters November 25th, so just in time for Thanksgiving. And yeah, this should be like the pinnacle of her career, where she is basking in the joy and limelight and celebrating all of her hard work that she's been doing since she was a kid on Nickelodeon.
And, by the way, she was about to reunite with the sexiest man alive on West End. A friend, right? This was just the perfect... It seemed like, Robe, she was just on a roll that nothing could stop. And here we are. And the Focker-in-law, we've seen that trailer a couple times in theaters with movies we've gone to.
She's funny.
And she looked. I don't remember. I'm thinking now. Wait a minute. What did she look like? Her appearance didn't make. I didn't make note of her appearance in watching the trailers.
You know who she reminds me of? Ava, my daughter's her best friend. They have similar little bodies, yes,
tiny,
and
tiny
they just
closer.
The other Ava, but there are just people who are tiny. There just are. I don't know. She may have something going on. She may not. But I really do feel like after having had this conversation, what people are doing to her in the name of trying to help her is actually hurting her, and that is where I land.
Okay, where does one land? One of these, a person out there, maybe even a person of note, has a big following, whatever, who was at one point dealt with their own issues with their weight and What does that person do?
Reach out to her personally. Reach out to her management. Well, some of these folks have names big enough and know the community, the acting community well enough that they could get a message to her. If you need help, I'm here. I've been there, done that. Okay. But I do think at a certain point, you have to trust the people who know her, who love her, her family, her friends, her management. They're the ones who know more than any of us do.
On the other side of that, for the person who is saying that somebody with real concern, and their real concern is what this is doing to the message it's sending to other girls out there. How do you handle that? If you're not reaching out directly to Ariana Grande, how do you delicately, gently, genuinely, is it possible?
Tell your own story without bringing Ariana Grande into it.
Damn, that's a good point. That's the way to do it. No, I didn't think about that.
Show your pictures. Show you at your thinnest. Talk about how you found help, but you don't need to bring Ariana Grande into it.
You don't. Right? You can say, I don't know what's going on with her, but this was the experience I had. And this is why seeing her might trigger me. I don't know what's going on with her, but this is what was happening with me. And I also want people to be aware and to know and to get my stuff. I guess that's the way, Robes. But it just seems like a non-stop onslaught of attacks. And I mean by just comments can be attacks. I mean, sending a message directly to her and said, girl, you're too skinny. No. That's a problem. That's not.
Look. People say things like "eat a cheeseburger." Like people just say just awful things, and I just think if we're genuinely concerned about her mental health, listen to her, trust her, and give her a break, and trust the people around her who love her, and pray for her. Send her positivity. Send her love. Don't send her critique.
Just kind, baby. That's kind of it. Just to be kind. Rose, this makes me want to reach out to Ariana Grande. Yeah. I think she is wildly, wildly talented. And I just think it's a shame that we've done this. That we've run her off from what was supposed to be and about to be a wonderful show. Robes, I didn't even know who Jonathan Bailey was. And then he was named Sexiest Man Alive. Started doing research on him. I'm a huge fan. Love this guy. I would have gone to London to see that show.
Yeah.
I would have gone to London.
Yeah.
And we ran her off. That sucks. That just sucks.
Let's hope that this is a much-deserved break and she comes back stronger than ever, and maybe all of the commenters out there will take a break as well. We can only hope.
We can only hope. But we appreciate it. As always, you're spending a little time with us. I'm TJ. That's Robes. See y'all soon.